Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a deep dive that's really for you, the learner. We're going to focus on some very practical, very realistic ways to actually improve your English speaking skills.
Yes.
We want to look at the strategies that really, work in the real world.
I think that's so important because the struggle is, well, it's very real for so many people.
Oh, wait.
You might be preparing for something at work, or maybe you just want to join a conversation and then you just freeze. That hesitation kicks in.
I know that feeling so well. It's like you're paralyzed. I remember when I was starting out, the moment I had to speak, my brain would just switch to Hindi.
Right. The translation mode.
Exactly. I'd be thinking in Hindi first, trying to build this perfect sentence in my head. And by the time I was ready,
The conversation has already moved on.
it's gone.
Mhm.
And my confidence just, poof,
Mhm.
vanished.
That feeling of being frozen, that's such a common experience. There's actually a name for it, foreign language anxiety, or FLA. And basically, this fear is a major barrier to becoming fluent. And what's interesting is how good teachers are trained to deal with this now.
You mean how they try to reduce that anxiety?
Mm.
By speaking slowly, using
Yeah.
simple words.
Yes, exactly. And a big part of it is how they handle mistakes. They don't correct you immediately in front of everyone.
Right. That would be so demotivating.
Of course. They might send you a note later, privately. So the takeaway for you, learning at home, is you have to create that same safe space for yourself.
Don't correct yourself so harshly.
Exactly. Don't demand perfection. Because stopping yourself mid-sentence to fix a tiny mistake,
Yeah.
that's where the anxiety comes from.
That makes so much sense. Mistakes are just data, not a failure. Okay, so now that we've talked about the psychology of it, let's get into the practical side.
Yes.
We've put together 10 simple points from our research that can really help.
Let's start with the first one. It's probably the most important. And that is, listen more English daily. Yes. You have to dedicate some time every single day. Listening is, it's the core way we acquire language.
And the type of content matters, right? It can't just be anything.
It should be authentic, if possible.
Yeah.
Like, some apps use videos from the internet, real people talking. Others have audio lessons with native speakers right from the beginning. It immerses you.
Okay, so we're listening every day. What's the next step to actually start speaking?
This connects back to the confidence thing we were talking about. Point 2 is speak simple sentences.
Start small.
Very small. Don't try to use big, complex words right away. Just focus on, basic grammar and common phrases you hear every day. It's like you're building with simple bricks first.
And that avoids the whole problem of translating in your head, which I think is our next point, right?
It is. Point 3. Don't translate from Hindi or whatever your native language is.
This one is so hard.
It is, but it's a habit you have to break. You need to try and think directly in English ideas, not just English words. Some learning methods even skip formal grammar lessons at the start, just so you learn to do this naturally.
To focus on the idea itself.
Yes. And that leads us to point number 4, which is learn common words, not difficult grammar.
So, vocabulary over rules.
In the beginning, yes. It's much more useful to know 100 common words you can actually use than to know one complicated grammar rule you'll never need.
And how do you make those new words stick? Not just memorizing a list.
You learn them in context. When you're reading or listening and you see a new word, try to guess what it means from the other words around it.
Using clues.
Exactly. That's so much more effective than just memorizing a definition. Your brain remembers it better. Okay, so those first 4 points are really about input. Getting the language in.
Right. And now we have to talk about getting it out, the output.
Yes, and this begins with building a habit. So point number 5 is practice speaking daily for 5 to 10 minutes.
Even just 5 minutes.
Even 5 minutes. Consistency is everything. A little bit every day is so much better than one long session a week. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely. And I have a feeling I know what the next tip is because I used to do this. Use mirror practice.
Ah, yes. Or self-narration.
It feels so awkward at first talking to yourself.
It does, but it's such a great low-stress way to practice. You can just narrate what you're doing. I am making a cup of tea. Now I am walking to the window.
I used to record myself on my phone. and then I'd listen back.
That's a fantastic technique.
It was painful to listen to at first, I have to say, but I realized where I was speaking too fast or where my pronunciation was a bit off.
You could fix it yourself privately. No one was there to judge you. You were in control. That's how you build real confidence.
Okay, so what's next?
Oh.
After we are comfortable talking to ourselves.
We need a little bit of structure. Point 7 is learn sentence patterns.
Ah, okay. So we said not to worry about difficult grammar.
Right. But you do need to know the basic structures, the reusable patterns, like, I would like to, or can you please tell me? These are frames you can put different words into.
And you can use them over and over again.
Exactly. They are your building blocks for longer conversations.
Okay, and this next one, point 8, might be the most important of all. Don't fear mistakes.
This is the big one. It's a mindset shift. You have to accept that mistakes are just part of the process. They're not a final judgment on your ability.
It's so hard not to feel bad when you make a mistake, though.
I know, but think about this. Even the big official tests like the TOEFL exam are changing. They're starting to care more about clear communication and less about tiny grammatical errors.
Really? So they care more that you get your idea across.
That's the key. They want to see that you can communicate your idea clearly. Which brings us to point 9, and this loops back to an earlier idea. Think in ideas, not words.
So focus on the message.
Focus on the message, the concept. Don't get stuck on one single word you can't remember. Try to explain the idea around it. The language is just the tool to deliver the idea.
Okay. And finally, the last point.
Point 10, which really sums everything up. Be consistent and patient.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Not at all. It takes time. You need that repeated exposure, that daily practice we talked about. You have to be patient with yourself and trust the process.
So these are 10 fantastic points. Let's try to apply them to a real-life situation, like in the office.
A great example.
You know, office talk or maybe writing professional emails. That can be very stressful.
It can, because the stakes feel higher. When you're writing an email to your boss or a client, a simple mistake can feel like a huge deal.
Right. It feels like it could damage your professional image.
It can. So for writing, a key principle is less is more.
Be concise.
Yes. Keep your email short and to the point. People are busy. And avoid slang. And please always proofread. Check your spelling and grammar before you hit send.
It signals that you're professional, that you pay attention to detail.
It absolutely does.
So what about tools? Are there any apps or resources that can help with these 10 points?
There are some great ones. For practicing speaking and listening, something like Pimsleur is really good because it makes you speak from day one.
Right.
For more structured lessons, learning those sentence patterns we talked about, Babbel is very popular. And for real-world immersion, watching authentic videos, something like Yabla is great.
So there are tools out there to help you practice daily.
Many. The important thing is to find one that you enjoy and will actually use consistently.
This all seems to come back to one thing, really. It's not about learning 1,000 words. It's about building the confidence to use the words you already know.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
Confidence comes from practice. Low-pressure practice. You have to remember that everyone makes mistakes. Everyone. That is literally how we learn.
It's true.
Just focus on being clear, on getting your idea across, the small mistakes. They really don't matter as much as you think.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to take away this week. We've talked about how foreign language, anxiety, that fear of messing up, is the biggest thing holding you back. So my question is this. What is the one single smallest moment of English you can use successfully today? It could be anything. Maybe just practicing saying thank you perfectly in the mirror, or saying good morning to a colleague.
Start small.
Yes.
Yes.
Start small, but start now. What one small thing can you do today to begin breaking down that fear? Thanks for watching and listening. If you found this deep dive helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.